From buying your first box of minis and paint to being a lady or gentleman on the gaming table, we got you covered.
We'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors, Dragon Slayers, Rexer's Lasers, Army Painter, and The Forge Hobbies and Games. Welcome everyone back to another production. As always, we'd like to start off thanking our Patreons. We got Skip, Logan, Joey, Lilith, and Ken. Greatly appreciate those. And all the people that view the channel. Anybody that takes 2 seconds, 30 seconds, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 15 minutes, especially in these videos, and watch them, we greatly appreciate it. As always, like, subscribe, share it out to friends. We want to grow the community. And then if you feel froggy, there is a link to Patreon if you want to take and support us that way. With that, we'll get started on this one. Today's Crusade boarding patrol book is Chaos Demons. So this one will be pretty fun. Keep it short and sweet. Gonna take and kind of go through that as normal. We will open right up to the Crusade pages from that standpoint. And we're going to take and look at these. We have the Crusade rules. So we're going to go through these from that standpoint. Man, I'm bad at doing that. Go through these from that standpoint and actually go over the ones that are flavorful for this book as far as regular agendas, requisitions, and so forth. You can watch our Crusade video on how to actually look at those and apply those to your army. The agendas is the first thing. You have your requisition, your Loki of the Gods, which is a new aspect, the Great Game, which is really, really cool. We'll go over that. That one's actually pretty fun. The flavored rewards because of the Great Game, and then you have your psychic fortitudes, your battle traits, your crusade relics. Of course, these are things that apply when you level up. So the first thing is agendas. So unlike all the other books, so when you look at all the other books, when you're depending on the size of your army and what you're taking, you have your agendas and you pull those, one from the book and then one from the core book. Some allow you to take more from the main book, but this one, you only have a few agendas, one for each one of the gods. And then you have your one that's for everybody. And again, you can take and look at those in the book. Read them if you have the actual codex playing the army. Oops. I figure I'd get better at this bit. Talking. Mouth gets dry. So those are the agenda aspects. Then you've got your requisitions. Requisitions are not flavored to the gods, so that's pretty good. You can use the different ones along with the others. As normal, you take and get 5 requisition points max that you can have. You get 1 per battle that you play in, win or lose. So you have to at least spend them as you go. We're going to skip the I'm going to skip the Loki. We're going to skip the Great Game. We're going to get over here to the Psychic Fortitudes. They have several Psychic Fortitudes, Lanesh, Nurgle, or Tzeentch, which is really cool based on which god you decide to take and play in the army. And then your battle traits, you have those again, Bloodletters, Horrors, Plague Bearers, or Demonettes, again, depending on which one you play. You have your Crusade Relics. The Crusade Relics, as normal, it looks like you've got Antique Relics. Heroic relics. What? There are several relics. Looks like you just have heroic relics. I'm going to go back here for 2 seconds. Yep. You've got heroic relics. You've got several based on the gods. You got Nurgle, Slanesh, Tzeentch, and Khorne. And then you have a legendary relics. They are Tzeentch, yeah, Slanesh. That's pretty nifty. Because most people have regular relics to choose, but for the Chaos Demons, you start out with heroic and legendary, and you've got 1 for each god. Definitely can read over those. Not going to go too detailed because it's chaos, so it's kind of like 4 different demons. You know, it's 4 gods in 1 book. There is a lot to go on there, but we'll kind of go over each one of the other pieces here. So, Loki of the Gods. Loki of the Gods is a new type of battle honor. So battle honors are when you level up. You can choose a crusade relic, a regular battle trait, battle honor, and different things from the regular core book or from this book. This one gives you the ability for a greater demon or herald to be given when they level up a Loki. So it has 6-inch range if it's a greater demon, or 3-inch range if it's a herald. And when they level, you can choose them to give them one of these. You have the under Corn, you have Locus of the Unstoppable Fury and Locus of the Diabolical Purpose. And I'm going to read into these again. I'm just taking and reading the titles. You can read into them. You can pull your codex and look at it, depending on which one you're taking and doing. You have your Zinch Locus of Conjuration, or Locus of Transmogrification. Whoa, that's a rough word. On that one. And then, of course, for Nurgle, always my favorite. If you know what I play, I have tons of Nurgle in terms of death cards. So Nurgle is my choice. Locus of Pox's Uncounted, or Locus of Folded Regeneration. And then for Slaanesh, Locus of Delicate Evisceration and Locus of Unnatural Swiftness. So those are the Loki of the gods, and you can give those as a battle honor when you take and level up. The next thing is the Great Game. The Great Game is you choose, when you have that, your Legions of Demonic, and you have your build your armor. Build it. Each battle, you basically are playing a game of which god's going to reign supreme. So the beginning of the Great Game is you have Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, and Slaanesh, and this is the ascending points. As you play through the game, and we'll go through it, the gods will gain ascending points according to how the battle ends and so forth, and what happens during the battle. And when you do it, you're gaining ascending points, and your gods are going to change who's in first, second, third, fourth. And as you finish that, when you get done with 8 battles, you then have the ability to choose a flavor for that god based on which god won. So it's pretty neat from that, because the way they've started it is, the beginning, each god starts with the following number. So Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, Slaanesh. It's in the order 4, 3, 2, 1, in that order. And then you take, and each game you play, it changes. And the way you gain ascending points is at the end of each battle, each of the dark gods gains the number of ascending points described below in the following order: Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, and Slaanesh. Each god gains D3 ascending points. The god that shares the alliance keyword with the warlord gains 1 ascending point. If you won the battle, they gain D3 ascending points instead. If Be'lakor is your warlord, all 4 guards gain 1 ascending point, or D3 for the battle. If after the god has gained ascending points, they have the same total as another god, the god you have just rolled for gains 1 additional ascending point. After each god has gained ascending points, make note of their new positions in the Great Game on the tracker. And then for the positioning, depending on where it's at, you have your positioning. Whoever's in first is dominant. Whoever's in second is a close rival. Falling behind and bitter jealousy. And then as the position goes, these affect the games. So when you actually start, say you were playing Slaanesh, you would actually be starting the game in bitter jealousy because it's in 4th place, which is really, really crazy. The positioning dominate while your guy's in first position. There's 1 to the leadership. Once per battle, you can use Epic Deed for 0 stratagem. Close second position, the close rivalry. Add 1 to leadership characteristics. Once per battle, your warlord shares allegiance keyword with the dark god. You can use the command point reroll strategy for 0 command points. Falling behind, there's nothing that gives you anything. And then if you're in 4th place and the god is equal to your legions demonica, you lose 1 from your leadership, and each time the model and the army shares an allegiance keyword with the dark god makes an enemy unit that shares the allegiance keyword with one of the dark gods in first, second, or third, you can reroll the hit. So basically a little bit of a benefit. And then each god starts the next round with the following number of ascending points based on their position in the previous round. So you get more ascending points based on your position going into it. So first, second, third, and fourth. So 4, 3, 2, 1. At the end of 8 is where it really becomes interesting. The position of the gods gain the following rewards, and then these rewards happen, which is really cool. So every unit on your battle order shares the allegiance keyword with the dark god, and first you gain 3 experience points. You can select 1 greater demon model, and this to share the keyword of the dark god. The model gains 1 exalted reward, 1 greater reward, or 1 lesser reward from the flavor of gods on 136, 137. Increase the crusade point towards the totaling to the balance into your crusade army. In the second position, every person that meets the god's alliance gains 2 experience. You can take and get one of the greater rewards and so forth. Third, everyone gains 1 experience. That bottle gains 1 lesser reward. The middle one gains 1 greater reward, and the top one gains 1 exalted. And then if you're in 4th and you share your army, you get nothing. So it's actually interesting because based on your allegiance and what you bring, Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, or Slaanesh, by the time you finish 8, your allegiance should be ahead based on the way all this scores out, which means you're going to be getting that. But for some reason you're bringing, say, a mixed, then there's ways that that's going to play out. And then you have your favored rewards. In your Crusade army, Greater Demon, they get favored rewards. When instructing the greater game, Greater Demon models in your order gain favored rewards. To do so, select the entries. So these are the rewards, the exalted rewards, the greater rewards, and the lesser rewards based on where you finish after 8 rounds. So that's what these are here. Each time you select one, they increase the Crusade point by 1. If it's a lesser, by 2 if it's a greater, and 3 if it's an exalted. And those are the different things that you can take and get. I'm not going to go into too much detail on those. Again, you can read those rewards based on what your guide is able to take and get from that standpoint. So that is the Crusades for Chaos Demons. We're going to go to the Boarding Patrol and their special rules. Again, we have a video on Boarding Patrol and how you build a Boarding Patrol, and you can take and go through that. The mustering the Boarding Patrol for Chaos Demons do have some special rules. You can include 1 fast attack slot, but only if it's a Flesh Hounds unit. Flamer units cannot be included in Boarding Patrol detachment, even though they have the fly keyword. But an Exalted Flamer model cannot have an enhancement. When forming boarding squads, you don't split the blue horrors. So when they get to 10, they stay as 10. They do not split there. And then your rules adaptation in your faction is Legion of Monica. Then the following rules basically are found in the Codex and are changed. All models lose the fly keyword when they are in the battlefield. This is a set standard for anybody in Boarding Patrol. A horror model splitting can increase the size of that model's Boarding Patrol above its starting size. Each time you use a Descending Shadow Warp Storm effect, subtract 1 from the attack's hit roll if the attacking model is more than 6 inches away, or instead of 12. So they shorten that range, so you don't get you get a better benefit. You cannot use the Maleficent Misdirection Warp Storm effect. The Burning Terror Warp Storm effect costs 5 warp points. The Wave of Sickness Warp Storm effect costs 4 warp points. Bolt of Change Psychic Power is a value of 9. Infernal Gateway is a psychic power of 10. As stated with most psychers in this game, those special psychic abilities that really allow you to have some mobility and do some nasty things have been increased to a higher charge to actually make, warp charge to make, just because they want Boarding Patrol to be less, it's more of in the ship, and so you don't want to just be like, oh, that's an easy to cast, boom, boom, boom. So they do make those higher. So that's your Chaos Demons from a Boarding Patrol standpoint. And what I've done on most of all of them, and this one was really big because trying to build a Boarding Patrol, I don't know which Chaos Guide you want to go with. I mean, if I did it, I'm going to do Nurgle, and that's where I'm going to kind of build mine. But with that being said, I did take and kind of put it together. And so you're going to be roughly setting at about 24 power level when you build your Boarding Patrol, no matter which way you build it, which Tzeentch, Slaanesh, Nurgle, or Khorne. You're going to be about at a 24 power level. So what I always say is 500 points first for your Boarding Patrol, then figure out the power level that you're setting at from that standpoint, and then subtract it. So in this case, you would have about 26 power level, give or take, again, based on how you build it. So 500 points for Boarding Patrol, take your power level, subtract it from 50, because that's how you start your Crusades, is at 50 power level, and that's how much power level you have to play. And the reason I say do that is because now you have a Crusade army that you can play Crusade mission with. But if somebody's like, hey, I want to play Boarding Patrol, you're like, hey, I can play that too. And I will just bring them so they're gaining experience and doing agendas. You may not be able to use all the fancy toys you get, but you can when you go back and play the Crusade game because you've got experience in playing in that game. So that is pretty much the set of that. If you've made it this far through the game, made it this far through the video, greatly appreciate you watching it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any comments, take and put those below on anything that you want me to further explain. If you'd like me to go in one into the gods, I can take and do that as well. And I think that's it. With that, everyone have a great day.